Know what you would like to say. I have started the recording, so yes, fire them off. Thank you, Amber. I'm so happy you're able to join us this evening. You know, we really got to get freaking Ray Ray and all those other people, Iron Stylus, back up in here. They need to come to this pool party. I know. I would, but they weren't on. They weren't on LOL, so I couldn't. Oh, somebody asked me a question early on the chat, and I don't know if they're still here, but it was basically about the little spirit ball on Ari's splash art. People are asking me if I actually painted that or I used a program to create it. And I actually did not paint it. I did use a program to make it, and the program is called Apophysis. It's Apophisis, I'm pretty sure. Or one of those I's is a Y. But it's a really cool kind of program. I had it shown to me by a good friend of mine. She's actually very talented, and she actually made the design, and she was nice enough to let me sort of steal it from her. Well, kind of. I kind of took it, and then she said it was okay. She was nice enough to not get mad at me for stealing it. So yeah, that is actually not done by me. It was done by a professional Apophysis renderer. So I hope that answers the question from that. I would be using it more, but again, it's another program that I need to learn how to use. So hopefully that person who asked that question is still on, so they are able to listen to that. Next question. If anybody has any. You know what really stinks is I wish I would have recorded this last week when people were asking me to show my portfolio and stuff. That was really cool. I really enjoyed showing that off. But I am going to actually take some time to go through that again, the portfolio that I applied to Riot with. So, all right. So, Party Frank, Mr. Frank, is asking, how do you come up with all the different poses and backgrounds for the champions in the game? So basically, it's funny because there was a big, there's a lot of talk around the office of oh, you know, these new splash screens that we're doing and all these new illustrations, you know, it seems that people like it when you draw them coming at the screen, or you know, they have their weapon, you know, pointed at you, you know, or they're jumping at you, or basically just like an action-oriented comic book looking pose. And while I did agree that that works for a lot of champions, there were some that it just felt a little out of place to try to make them look heroic, you know what I mean? Like a Mumu, for example. He's a crying mummy. You know, you wouldn't exactly expect him to be looking like a heroic, you know, badass kind of guy. But he's actually more comical and kind of cool in the way that, you know, he's this sad mummy. So it doesn't always work for every champion, but the biggest thing that goes into the mental game as far as creating a pose for a champion is what kind of attitude does this champion have, and how do we want people to feel when they look at this illustration or the splash screen for the first time. And we basically draw out around 6 thumbnails, and basically with all different poses that we feel kind of sell that character, and then we pick it from there. The splash team comes together. The awesome splash team, which is, it used to just be me and this other guy, Wes Keel, or Wes Kyle. I always call him Keel, but yeah, it is Kyle, and it used to be just me and Wes, and just recently we've gotten quite a few other people to add to the team, which has been really amazing. So all 6 of us actually will get together and we'll pick out which pose we're going to go forward with. But yeah, basically all comes down to the attitude and selling that champion. So, moving on. Next question. Thank you for the question, Frank. Okay. Keen. Oh wait, is it Keen or Kiana? I do not know how to pronounce that name. I know there's a band with that name, but I think people call him Keen. Keen. Okay, cool. Awesome. Who makes the art for the abilities of each champion? The QWER abilities. Was someone specifically hired to make them? I am interested in that kind of art, mini art. Hey, what's up, man?
Am I interrupting something?
Yes, I'm doing a Q&A right now.
Alright. Well, I'll see you later.
Okay. Oh, you're taking off?
Yeah, we're gonna leave.
Okay, cool, man. Alright, see you around. That was my best friend's little brother. Sorry about that. Back to the question. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the icon art. Yes, there is actually somebody who is hired to make that, and yeah, I mean it's really cool. It's pretty fun. You get to basically come up with this really eye-catching, easy to read art that represents what the ability is going to do. Similar to the icons that you see in WoW. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of fun. This miniature icon type art. It's actually very in depth too. Surprisingly more than you think it would be, because there's a lot of things with readability. You're working with such a small shape. You got to have a lot. You got to convey a lot of information in that icon, like whether it's a healing move, a damaging move, what it does to your character, if it's teleporting or something. You got to make sure that you're communicating visually properly. Second question from Keen. What kind of stuff did you do? What kind of stuff did I do when I worked on the Littlest Pet Shop video game? I forgot that I had actually said that I worked on that. Oh man. That was back when I was working for the local studio called Sandman, back when I lived in Utah. Basically what I was in charge of doing was we were doing some online games for them, and what we were doing is they gave us the assets for these cute little animals. I'm sure you've seen the Littlest Pet Shop series, and basically we just had to render out 2D sprites that they would use for flash games on their website. So I didn't work on any the Nintendo DS ones or do any modeling or concept art for that kind of stuff. I don't think I would have really fit in with that art style, but who knows? Maybe I would have really liked it. I like cute little puppies and kitties and bunnies and stuff like that. But yeah, who knows? Oh man, that's funny. I was not expecting that one. Alrighty. At Blizzard, they had a big poster of all the icons. It was crazy, but very cool. Oh, okay. Yes, I have. I think I have seen that the icon. It spells out World of Warcraft. It's like a mural thing. I love that. Okay, this question is coming in from Yanni Ren. I hope I pronounced your name right. If not, then you are now Yanni Ren. I want to break into the world of being a professional artist. I'm currently in school and I graduate in a year. I want to do professional illustration like you. So what do I have to do in order to become a professional artist? 3 question marks. Okay, so this is a very good question, and actually a question that I'm sure is on a lot of artists' minds. And basically, the advice that I offer here is always coming from personal experience and opinion. So don't let this be the final say of what you should do, but you should always take what people say in terms of where you're going to go professionally with a grain of salt, and then make the decision that feels right for you. But to become a professional artist, let's see, the first and foremost thing that you want to do is you want to decide exactly what kind of art you want to do. Like, do you want to be a graphical artist? Do you want to create packaging for products or food or toys or whatever? Do you want to be an illustrative guy? Do you want to work illustrating books? Do you want to do advertisement? Do you want to do like movie posters and stuff like that? Or do you want to do 3D, texture and all that? So there's all these different areas where you can kind of go in and out of, and you don't have to make up your mind for just one, but it's good to kind of have a general idea of what you want to do. Like for me, for instance, I knew that I wanted to do something in 2D. Like a lot of the future of video games is always going 3D, so I was starting to lose a little bit of hope that I was going to be able to find work somewhere doing illustration and being a 2D artist. So, but I just kind of stuck by my guns. I knew what brought me the most happiness, and I knew what I wanted to do. So eventually it seems like if you keep that mindset, the opportunity shows itself, and then you're able to kind of act on it. So And speaking of opportunity, that brings me to the second part of the question: is becoming the professional artist. Once you know what you want to do, you basically have to continue using your time in a way that's going to be impressive. It's going to be impressive when someone's taking a look at your portfolio. Hang on, you're asking some more. So, Yana Uran, you are interested in concept art mostly. Finished illustration like my splash arts. Okay, cool. So you're a lot like me. You want to do 2D art. Okay, so the best thing I would say to do is if you want to go into video games, I would say pick a few companies that you really like, whether it's Blizzard or Riot or whatever, and start submitting your work on the forums. Start getting the biggest thing that you can do as an artist is get exposure and showing off your work and getting people to like it, you know? And don't get discouraged if it doesn't go well the first time. I mean, it takes time. Like, I mean, I wanted to work at Blizzard since I was like 16, you know? And of course I submitted a portfolio and didn't hear anything back from them, but you know, I didn't let that, you know, stop me. I knew that that was eventually what I was going to do. So I just kept going and just got more experience, got more opportunities to expand my portfolio. And then when the time came, I saw that there was another opportunity at Riot, and then I took it, and I actually ended up liking working at Riot even more than I would have liked to work at Blizzard. So it's always good to not get discouraged because it is not easy. It's definitely not easy getting a job as a professional artist. It's always going to be tough. But I think that there's always like roundabout ways. There's not the beaten trail of like, okay, you go to school, you get your degree, and then okay, look, there's a job waiting for you now that you've finished school. You know, it's not like that if you're an artist. It definitely seems like, because there's a lot of people that I know that went to school and you know, they're still looking for jobs, you know, or they're freelancing, you know, trying to figure out what to do. And me, I went to school for a semester, did some 3D modeling, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna draw stuff, and then I got my opportunity. So I think it's just make sure you're spending your time wisely. Man, that was a mouthful. I hope that answers your question, and I hope you enjoyed that one. So I will take a few more questions. We will conclude the Q&A session at around 8:45, unless I get some amazing questions from you guys. So please let them keep rolling. Keep rolling. I'm glad you are enjoying it, little blood elf girl. I wish I could say your name. Derry Lira. Derry Lira. That's how I read it. If you could get some phonetics on there, I'll if you get some phonetics for me, I'll pronounce it right. Derilaria? Spell it like you would in a dictionary. You know, like spell it, you know, with like capitals and stuff. I'm not that smart when it comes to that stuff, so yeah, help would be appreciated. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad you were able to kind of stumble upon this and enjoy it with us. All right, next question comes from Mr. Bob. Oh, he says, can you possibly go over basic fundamentals such as value? Need to work on value on your next daily. Darylira? Darylira. Is that it? Okay. All right. Well, close is good. Close is good. Oh, Alexandre, you came back. I answered that question about Ari's orb. That was actually the first question that I answered, and I'll be uploading it onto YouTube directly after this. So, but basically, just to sum it up, I use a program called Apophysis, and I'll spell it for you. And that's a online kind of rendering program where it creates like little, what are they called? They're like the repeating patterns. I forget what they're called, but it basically just works with numbers and stuff. And it was a friend that made it for me, and I used it, and she was nice enough to not get mad at me for using it. And so, yeah, but it all comes from that program. That's what Ari's orb was made out of. Oh, Daryl Lyra. Daryl Lyra. Thank you, Daryl Lyra. Yes! Cool. All right, so going back to Bob's question, basic value. Okay, so are you talking about like if you're painting in color and then you were to turn it to black and white, it would like those values, like having a clear picture with those values. Is that what you're talking about? Because if that is the question, if that is the question, then I'll be happy to go over that in a future daily. I think that would be actually quite a bit of fun and a very good one to actually go over, because we do a lot of fundamentals in terms of like drawing figures and stuff, but we don't do a lot when it comes to like composition. Maybe I should explore a little bit more of that. So yeah. All right, this one's coming in from Kale. What is the overall process on designing a champ when it comes to how many people it goes through? For example, original concept artist, orthographic artist, splash artist, textures. Also, could one of your future tutorials go over doing orthographic sheets? Yes! Orthographic meaning turnaround? I think that's a fancy way of saying turnaround. I don't want to sound dumb and say I don't know what an orthographic is. We don't call them that. We just call them turnarounds. But yeah, definitely. If you're looking for an orthographic view, where it's front, side, back, and then a 3/4, kind of perspective take on it, then yes, we can go over that for sure. The overall process when it comes to designing. Okay, good. Orthographic does mean turnaround. Okay, I'm gonna write that one down for later. But the amount of people that goes into making one champion is actually quite staggering. I don't know if I could say exactly how many people go into it, but it's a lot, because you've got the general concept, and then you've got the lore artists, the guys who write the story and how it's going to fit into the game. Then you've got the designers who are creating the abilities that it's going to use, and how all of the abilities need to be balanced so they can fit into the game and not make it completely imbalanced. So and then after that, you've got like the polish artists, and you've got the splash artists, the 3D modelers, the texture artists. There's so many things. And then even the skin artists, because there's skins in League of Legends. So you got to come up with some cool skins that people can buy and basically flaunt on the fields of justice. So yeah, I mean, just with those things I mentioned, there's a lot of people that go into it. It's actually quite amazing. All right. This one's coming in from Yanni Ren. I would love to see some more background painting in your future dailies. What I mean by this is you have a character that you have drawn, so now you want to create a background for it. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? Yes. Of course, I totally understand what you're saying, Yanni Ren. And drawing a background is actually very, very important, and it's awesome to keep in mind when you're creating a picture for your character, because the way that I used to do it was I just draw a character, and then I'd be like, I wonder what kind of background would look good on this. But now, it's actually really a lot more fun when you come up with the complete composition of a picture, including the background and how everything is just going to flow and direct your eye. And we can actually go over that too, because since I've been working at Riot, I've learned a lot about like flow and direction of your eye and focal points. And I think that's definitely a key part that separates like good artists from like Jedi artists, because they literally like control your eye, control your mind. It's amazing. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed that reference. So let's see. All right, so it is a little bit past 8:45, but I don't mind that because you guys are asking amazing questions. I am going to take this last question from Amber, because this is a great question. Holy moly, wow. Do you find criticism an important thing as an artist? Wow, okay, now this is something that really is rarely touched on in terms of, like artists talking to artists and other things like that. But, okay, how you take feedback and how you give feedback is so important in a professional scene. It's amazing. It's absolutely, it's jaw-dropping, because you can always be a great artist, but when it comes to working with other people, there's a certain amount of trust and respect that you can gain just by the way that you communicate with people. And it's so important to learn how to communicate, be confident, and also be humble and be ready to accept the fact that once you're working, the way that I look at it is this way. See, I'm always excited to do things my way with a painting, right? You know, I'm always like, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and people are going to be so impressed and they're going to love it. And they're just going to think, you know, I'm the greatest guy ever, you know? But after a while, you start to realize that after you work on a painting for 5, 6, 8, you know, up to 10 hours, even just after the first few hours, you're not seeing the same painting as somebody else that is just going to pass by and look at it for the first time is going to see it. They're going to see all these little mistakes. And this kind of goes into that principle of when I flip the canvas, because it kind of gives you fresh eyes on your painting. But you know, that only works for so long, and then eventually you're still not seeing the exact painting that somebody else is going to see for the first time. So taking criticism and feedback as an artist is absolutely an amazing tool and something that you should, it's a skill to work on. It's just like any other technique in art, except this is all like social and mental. But it's interesting because if you work on this, I guarantee you are going to be a great person to work with, and you will become a better artist because you rely on your colleagues, and you can basically, it's always good to like, there's a balance obviously, because you don't always just want to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to wait until this other person tells me what to do, or, you know, oh, I can't make this because, you know, I don't, you know, I don't know if I can trust myself. You know, it's always good to have confidence in yourself, but at the same time, be willing to take feedback, respond well to it, especially if it's feedback that you don't necessarily agree with. And this is even stuff that I'm still working on too. There's always ways to tell the person that you appreciate, you know, whatever they're telling you, but then you can say, you know, well, I was going for this and I was really trying to communicate this, and I feel that, you know, what you're saying might take away from that, or whatever. There's always just good ways and professional ways. And not even professional. I don't even like that freaking word. I don't like when people say be professional. I think it should just be friendly, you know? Just treat them like they're your friends, and just be real with them. And I think if you do that, it'll make you a much more marketable and easy to get along with person. And that's a big thing that people look for when they bring you in for interviews to work in a studio, is how do you interact with people? How do you take feedback? And how do you work in like a social environment? So, thank you for asking that question, Amber. I love you for that. All right, guys. So we are going to conclude this week's Q&A session. Thank you once again for coming out to the party, supporting the Sunday KNKL Pool Party in the World of Warcraft on the Ysera realm at 10 o'clock server time. Yes, I'm talking to you people who didn't come this week and should come next week, because this is going on YouTube, and yeah, talking to those people. So, so anyway, yeah, thank you guys once again. You guys have a great night, and I will see you guys next Saturday. Yeah, since this is going on YouTube, I can do my usual outro. What's the name going to be called? Oh, Daryl. The name of the video is going to be, just type in the KNKL show. Yeah, that should give it to you, and then it'll just be that channel. So I'm gonna do my outro. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't. I am Keenan Lafferty, and I will see you guys next week.